of a puzzle, and you can't just grab number 2 and attach it to number 1. You have to spread out everything and see where the pieces fit. A tree of sorts. David Shannon, number 2, marries anybody. Somebody. And their children are Agnes, who marries in 75, Ellen, who marries, unfortunately, Samuel Crozier in 84. Where Agnes is the witness. What this requires is 2 Davids and 2 Sams.
David's next move is to visit Belfast's General Register Office. He's still clinging to the notion that there's a missing generation between Charlotte Shannon and her descendant Agnes Shannon. Maybe somewhere in there lies the Crozier connection.
There's a Jane Shannon, a Charlotte Shannon.
Bingo.
Yes, you mentioned a Charlotte.
Oh, we did indeed.
87 and 39. Do 87 first. Charlotte Shannon died 6th of September 1885 at Hill Street, Banbridge. She was a widow, 67 years old. Widow of a farm labourer. Heart disease unknown.
David Shannon, her son.
Yes, David Shannon, her son, is marked present at death.
Well, what do you know?
Do you reckon that's the right one?
Well, I've been kind of speculating that A. Charlotte Shannon had a son, David, for the better part of a year and a half. I don't know if this is the right Charlotte Shannon or the right David Shannon, but it certainly is the right relationship we've been looking for.
Right.
Let's take that one slowly, please.
Sorry.
Want me to? Yeah.
Feels like lightning running through my veins. Every time
Charlotte Shannon, 6th of September 1885 at Hill Street, Banbridge.
When you are prepared for negatives and a positive comes along, and it's concerning something that I've been dwelling upon for the past 3 years, and the consequences of it are so significant to my entire family, it's an extremely powerful moment.
David Shannon, his marked son, was present at death, Banbridge.
Now we get to say this. Yes!
At this stage, we decided to introduce David to our genealogical expert, Janet Abernethy. For 3 weeks before his visit, she's been working on David's case. She's just found all the relevant documentation at the Public Record Office relating to the Shannon family. Among the entries in Griffith's valuation is a reference to David Shannon living in the Ballymoney area just outside Banbridge. Janet's also found an incomplete list of baptismal records for the local Maharali church. These date back to the time that David and his wife Charlotte were raising their family. They provide David Appleby with what's really his last chance to prove a connection to Captain Crozier.
We now have a daughter, Elizabeth, father, David Shannon, mother, Charlotte Crozier. Am I reading that properly? Born September 25th. That must have been, okay, if that's 38, then that must be 37. And here we are again. The year is 1849. And this is daughter. And if your name's Crozier, there's only one place you came from, and that's Scotland. Mary. And we are year, 1849. 1945. Okay. Well, we know that David Shannon married Charlotte Crozier. Now we know that the Charlotte Crozier, who was the sister of Captain Crozier, had no children. That's been well established. However, the Croziers all descended from one man who immigrated to Belfast, this area, from Scotland in the late 1600s with his 3 sons. They all came from one source, so this is a Crozier. A different line from the root source. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether or not she came from, sister or 15 lines sideways. It's all still is related. There are still some missing pieces. For instance, over here, we just found out earlier today that Charlotte Shannon died in 1885 as submitted by David Shannon, her son. And I'm looking at the children of Charlotte Shannon here. And I see a daughter Elizabeth, a daughter Sarah Ann, a daughter Mary, a daughter Ellen, and I see no son David. I was hoping to find a son David because that would tie together this group with that event. So I think we're getting closer, but we need a little more. Janet, what would you suggest I do next? Help? Getting the dates sorted out and realizing that the Charlotte Crozier that David Shannon married was born in 1818 instead of 1 or 2 years before Captain Francis Crozier, put all of the temporal aspects of this into proper alignment. I had thought last night, that there perhaps were 2 Charlottes and there perhaps were 2 Davids because I was looking for 2 generations. There's only 1 generation. There are 2 Charlottes. The first one doesn't count. There are 2 Davids. The second one is the son, if my facts are straight, of David and Charlotte. But he doesn't count. Yes. Okay? We have the lineage right there.
The baptisms that you find, they all lived in the townland of Ballymoney. Mm-hmm. So I think we should go back to Griffiths and look at the map that goes with the Griffiths valuation and see if we can pinpoint where they lived.
Okay.
David Shannon and William Crozier lived opposite each other in the Ballymoney townland. So the other Croziers that are in that, to make it easier to see,
Oh my goodness.
highlighted them.
Okay.
This is William
Crozier there. David Shannon's here. This is Isaac. This is Thomas.
Thomas owned that land.
And this land.
But he didn't live there.
There may be a relationship between Charlotte Crozier and that William. And that William was born when? Has anyone?
No, nobody's found him yet.
Might be nice to find him.
Yes.
If he is of a certain age, perhaps he's Charlotte's dad.
Maybe.
Okay.